forgot to ask, is it you or me?
You start.
It'll be me then. Well, hello. We're on the ball. It's a bit hot today.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, we're melted. I think I'm on 5 ice lollies today.
Oh dear.
It's a warm day. Anyway, welcome to Marriage Matters, another episode of the awesomeness of Marriage Matters.
Because marriage matters.
Yes, matters the marriage that matters because marriage matters. But if you want to keep up to date with all that we're doing, then the best thing you can do is follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. We're also on YouTube and Vimeo and Twitter and Tumblr. There's lots of places you can get involved. And the best thing, as ever, always, is sign up to our newsletter. Yeah. Berry Bites with a Y, because why not? And you can do that at our website. There's a little button that says newsletter.
Did we say who we were?
No.
I'm Joe.
I'm not. I'm Andy.
That's great. I'm glad we got that covered.
I'm melting.
So yeah, we're back on Marriage Matters. This episode we're calling it Day to Day, and we're sort of thinking about the mundane of life. Life can be quite repetitive. It can be quite routine. You go to the same job, or you get up, you clean your teeth. Have similar meals.
You have to clean your teeth in the morning, do you? It's like health advice.
Well, I'm just thinking of routine things that you might do. Go and get your hair cut, go shopping, all the kind of things that you regularly have to do.
So you can feel the wind blowing in your hair when it's short like mine.
And it can get mundane, it can get boring, it can be like, it feels like, Groundhog Day. I don't know if you've ever seen that, just where the same day goes round and round. And you think, gosh, what happened today? Or what am I doing different this day? And it can just feel a bit like... mundane just sums it up, doesn't it?
You mean like when you wake up and think, is it bedtime yet?
Well,
Before you've had your breakfast.
Yeah, those are those days.
Yes.
Yeah. But I was thinking more in terms of where life just gets repetitive. It's the same old. I guess that's why people go on holiday, don't they? To break that monotony. And you remember that episode with Garfield? It's like starts in black and white.
The colour has gone out of my life.
That sums it up, doesn't it?
It does quite well, actually. Yeah, I had a thought and it's gone.
Oh, right. Well, maybe it'll come back again.
I'm hot.
But Did
I mention it's warm?
Yeah. So in marriage, it can be, a routine, a day-to-day thing can get boring. And so...
It's a bit like filming in a studio on a super hot day with 4 studio lights, a computer with 3 fans, 2 lights with fans, and it gets a bit warm. But you have to get through to get to the end because it's good.
Going. Yeah, you keep
it's
going.
like eating your veggies.
And not hiding them under the table, Andy, like peas.
Well, that was a long time ago and I hated peas. So I used to eat peas and spit them out when nobody... I used to wait so long that everyone got so bored they left me alone. I used to spit them down the back of the sideboard. I hated peas with a passion.
Well, we're not really talking about peas, are we? We're just talking about marriage and how things can be a bit staid or
Do you
whatever.
remember John Major with the peas?
Oh, yeah.
More peas. Oh, anyway. Yes, lots going on.
Yeah, so we're just going to be looking at that fairly easy going, because some of the episodes we've had have been quite hard hitting, and
we've had some deep stuff.
So this is, in a way, a bit of a more light-hearted one.
Yes, so it'll be another episode of Marriage Matters. It's a bit like another episode of Sausage Pasta. But do we have to have that again? I once saw somebody say that what defines an adult? Well, adulthood is defined by opening your fridge and realising you're having the same food yet again because you've run out of ideas of what to make.
Let's bring some colour back into our marriage.
Yes,
that's
let's
the
do
plan.
That. Should we have a little advert then?
Yeah.
So let's pray. Andy's going to come on and show us how to pray. Excellent. What have you got there?
It's my world's atlas.
Okay.
So I can pray for the world.
Okay.
You see, pray's good.
Right. Okay. You're going to show us how to do that then?
Yeah. So I've got my atlas, and if you go to the letter A, I'm going to start here. So please God, please bless our Ben Ra and our Chun and our Borg.
What did you like about the story?
Bob,
you like Bob?
And the stick. We like sticks.
You like the stick?
We like sticks a lot, I do.
Okay, well, we'll try and make sure there's some more stories with sticks in,
Thank
Dave,
you.
especially for you.
We're back and to the meaty section.
The meaty section.
You love saying that, don't you?
There's something good about it. The meaty section. I like meat.
Yeah, and so we're talking about the day-to-day life within marriage, of course, and how that can become boring or mundane. And
have you put the bins out?
Yeah, that's another one,
have you
isn't
brought
it?
the bins back?
Yeah.
Have you emptied the bins? Have you hoovered?
Yeah, all kinds of
The
things.
sink's blocked again.
You know, like you do the dishes and you think, oh, yeah, completion, but you know you're going to have to do it again tomorrow.
And tonight.
And the next day, the next day. There are things that just keep coming back round. And life can seem a little bit boring, a little bit mundane. And they talk, don't they? We've talked about this before, where marriages get a bad press, like somehow marriages are boring and being single is a lot more exciting. But that's not true. We don't believe that.
Nope.
And so what can we do then, Andy? What can we do about life being like that, so routine and so
Perspective.
mundane? Ooh,
Always
I like
think
that.
perspective. So one of my phrases that I've used for years, I don't even know where I came. I must have been using this phrase for 30 years.
Yeah.
But perception trumps reality. And it's all about the idea that what we perceive can sometimes become a reality. Not necessarily in the physical world, but in our minds, what we perceive can become so true and ingrained, we assume that it just is.
Yeah.
We perceive that person's always grumpy, therefore they're a really horrible, nasty person. And what we don't realize is they're just terrified of being outside their own house. So what we perceive can end up becoming our reality, a false reality. And I think that's where the idea of marriage being really boring comes from. It's this false perception that somehow you're married to the same person, you go to the same bed, you share the same bathroom, and it's not boring. There's a perception, but it's a false perception.
Yeah.
So perspective. Perspective.
You got your phone out there, and what are you doing?
Well, I have some scripture. So I was thinking, if ever you wanted some perspective, the best way of getting perspective is go to Bible.
Yes.
Go to the Bible.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've gone to Ecclesiastes 3. Lamentations is quite good if you want some perspective. Life is meaningless. We're not doing that today. But we are looking at Ecclesiastes 3, which says this. It's very well known. There is an occasion for everything, and a time for every activity under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones. I don't get that bit. A time to embrace and a time to avoid embracing. There you go. A time when it's hot. I don't want to cuddle when it's hot. You just stay away. A time to search and a time to count as lost. That's quite good. How often do you think, well, I'll just keep going and going and going? And you know what? Sometimes you've got to let it go.
Yeah.
A time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And that scripture, I know it's very well known, but I think it's quite appropriate because in life, I mean, I'm going to go back to food. I mean, I made a joke about sausage pasta. So in our household, I mean, maybe you've got the same. We've got a set number of dishes that we do regularly. So sausage pasta, it's not a cooking show, don't panic. We have sausage pasta, it's not on my mind, honestly. We have spaghetti bolognese, we have jacket potato with meat, we have chicken thighs. You know, we've got maybe 7 or 8 regular meals, maybe a lasagna, fish and chips that we regularly have. And the problem is when you have the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, you just think, oh, it's really boring. And you lose perspective on how amazing it is that you have such a wide range of food. If you've got no food, having fish and chips on a Friday and having a lasagna on a Saturday and a roast on a Sunday, roast every Sunday, oh, it's really boring. If you don't have food, it's not boring.
No.
So it comes back down to perspective. And I think that's where the marriage thing comes from. I want our boys to grow up excited about marriage because they see that we are excited about marriage. That's the whole point of Marriage Matters, why Joe came up with this idea and we've created this podcast, because marriage is really exciting. It's good for people. It's good for society. God's got it in the bedrock of scripture that marriage is a good choice to make. And it is a choice. You can choose to be single. You can choose to be married. Those are the two choices.
I mean, the thing is, marriage does have its ups and downs and its difficulties. But life goes through different seasons, isn't it? Like that, the Ecclesiastes is saying that, isn't it? There's a time for this, a time for that. But you go through different periods of time. I mean, you know, we talked about when we were first married, we didn't have children and we had 2 incomes, and then we have children and then the children are older. So life changes. The only constant in life, isn't it, is change. Yes. And that's true of marriage and it's true of...
Oh, that's deep, that.
Is it?
The only constant in life is change. It's like a paradox, but it's
That's not boring,
true.
Is it?
No, it's not. And marriage isn't boring because I don't understand Jo, and I've spent 25 years trying to understand her, and I've realised after 25 years I don't understand her. And I'm looking forward to the next 25 years of understanding her. And maybe one day I'll think, I get it. Now I know why she's completely lunatic. Anyway, so no, that's not true. But it's perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a perspective based on a perception of reality which is false, that marriage is boring.
It makes me think about when I first became a Christian, actually, because what I think many people will say, especially if they've had quite a dramatic change, like they've
I
not
think we
been...
can safely say yours was a dramatic conversion.
Yeah, if you have one of those experiences where you weren't a Christian, you didn't get brought up as a Christian, and then you have a radical change. It's like colour comes in. So it is that perspective. You see life in a very dull, mundane, what's the point? Why am I here? What's my purpose? And then you become a Christian and it's like, wow, I have purpose, I have meaning. There's a reason for me to be here. And there's a reason to be married and a reason, God's designed it. And it's designed to show us how to live, how to be. It's about the community. It's about children. It's about the whole, there's just so much. And God's got this design, and if you're struggling and finding it boring, then we've got it wrong, and we need to, like you say, go back to the Bible, pray about it, look in the Bible, go to others who've been through maybe this stage, because guaranteed you can speak to older couples or couples who've been going along the journey a bit longer, and they'll go, oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was chatting to someone the other day, and they were saying, oh, there's this going on in my marriage, and can you pray for us, and there's this and that, and I said, look, we've been there, just keep going, because actually you're doing far better than you think you are.
Yeah.
Because the very reason that you're struggling, because you care and you're passionate. But if we have the wrong perspective on that, we think, oh, that's the end, it's going wrong.
Yeah.
Or the right perspective is, it's part of life. Yeah. And one of the things certainly is, I'd say we were a mature married couple now. That sound old?
No, not at all.
I need a Zimmer frame soon.
No.
I want a Zimmer frame and Bluetooth. That's all I really want. Little speakers hanging off the sides. Anyway, so I think perspective. It's all about perspective. Do you perceive that your life is boring because every Tuesday you have fish and chips and every Sunday you have a roast? Oh, it's really boring and it's the mundane. And but that's life. Most of life is repetition. You get up in the morning, you do your teeth, like you said. In the evening, you go to bed having put the bins out and forgotten. Then you run out in your dressing gown because you've forgotten the dustbin lorry's arrived. And that's most of life for everybody. And I think one of the things about social media is, on social media, we get to see the exciting bits of people's lives.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't go on Facebook, do you, and say, put out the bins, and then another one of you with the bin, and you don't then say, I've just unblocked the sink, and you don't then say, I'll put my shoes on, and I take my shoes off, and I'll take the trousers. You don't, and that's most people's lives. Well, that's everybody's lives, whether you've got lots of money or none. There's the same stuff, and it's that cycle of repetition which makes up life, and our perspective on that determines whether or not we think, it's boring. Or, do you know what? I've got breath in my lungs. I can take my bin to the end of the drive. Yeah. I've got food in the freezer. I can cook a meal. Yeah. I can afford electric. And if we switch our perspective from, it's the same repetition, all of a sudden we have a different perspective, and perspective changes everything.
Yeah, and I think linked to that is thankfulness, isn't it? It's actually being thankful, not necessarily looking at other people who've got less than us, but just appreciating what we do have. And linking into that is being in the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
Too often we're missing things. Like last night we saw a full moon, didn't we? And it was just incredible. And we took the time to look at the moon and take that in, because sometimes you just pull your oh yeah, that's nice, pull the curtains or whatever.
Why is it so bright in my bedroom?
Yeah, it's annoying. But there are so many things that, like, the seasons come round, but it's never gets boring.
Nope.
Seeing the beauty of God's creation, and just I love watching the clouds, when there's a cloudy day and you go, oh, I can see a dog, I can see a sheep,
Okay.
and actually,
we'll have a talk about this later.
But actually sometimes the Mary Poppins films sort of tries to encourage us to be like children again and use our imagination, and I think sometimes maybe you just need to hang out with kids.
Don't ever grow up. Growing up is overrated. The Bible says we should be childlike.
Yeah.
Therefore, we should always be like children.
Not childish.
No. Well, do you know, one birthday, was it my 40th?
Something like that.
I said, I want toys, I want games, I want little computer things, I want stuff I can play with, and Lego, and it was one of the best birthdays for years. There was not one single serious adult present. Yeah. It was brilliant.
You're actually saying we need to inject some fun as well into our lives.
Yes, and change the perspective. I heard a friend, she was in her 80s, and she'd had a cataract removed, and she had a similar story to you. So when she had a cataract removed, an actual physical cataract, she said she hadn't realised that her red cardigan was red because she'd bought it. It was pink. And she had the cataract. She put it on and thought, whose is that cardigan? Well, that's yours. No, I've got a pink one. No, that's yours. And all of a sudden she saw full colour everything.
Yeah.
And she said it was exactly the same as when she came to faith. It's like someone switched the light on or removed a cataract and everything was suddenly in full colour. And she said it was the same when she became a Christian and when she had a cataract removed as an older woman who said it's the same experience. When you meet Jesus, everything gets amazing.
Fantastic.
Shall we take a break?
Yeah.
So, Joe.
Yes.
Marriage matters. What is it?
It is all about marriage because it matters.
You're nicking my lines now. Matters of the marriage because marriage matters and marriage matters of the marriage matter.
Yeah, because we've been married 25 years and we think it's really important to encourage one another and build one another up and help each other because we can learn from each other as well.
We've made so many mistakes where I've had to learn what Joe's done wrong and fix it. Like a mobile phone under a car wheel, a mobile phone at the bottom of the stairs, mobile phone left outside overnight, and I get a blame. So I've learned how to deal with these little issues.
Yeah.
Bowl of rice. Well, not if she's driven over it twice.
The bowl of rice won't help.
Some things are beyond help, but not Joe. And not your marriage. It's never beyond help.
No, absolutely not.
The Marriage Matters is all about matters of the marriage that matter because marriage matters. Saturday podcast from 4. Hello. We're back.
Yes.
4 tips and resources. Tips and resources. I can't really do the deep voice. I need a cold again. I don't want a cold.
No, you don't want a cold. No, don't.
No. Anyway, so tips and resources.
Yeah.
I've got a really good one. Ooh. So I think as we're thinking about the day-to-day, the mundane, we've touched on this before, and I'm sure we'll touch on it again because it's something that keeps coming back. So we're going to keep on touching on this. But it's all about your perspective. That changes absolutely everything. I'm sure you've met people that go around through life, really boring. Oh, I'm fed up. Oh, this has gone wrong. Oh, that's gone wrong. And they're depressing, quite frankly. And then you meet people who are, oh, do you know what's amazing? I went to work and someone opened the door and I came in, there was a cup of tea. And it's all about perspective. Yeah. And I think that's the key. So here's my tip and resource. In your marriage, if you're thinking, do you know what? I'm fed up of my wife breaking mobile phones, like in the advert. Actually, you haven't broken one for a while.
No.
So that's quite a bonus. I'm so fed up of this. I'm fed up with my wife. She always leaves her clothes near the washing basket, not in it. She brings the washing down. She never actually puts it in.
These are not necessarily anything to do with me. These are just top of your head. What could happen, isn't it?
Top of the head from earlier today. So there are these things that happen. And instead of griping, actually, we should be writing a thanking list. So if you know anything about aviation, there's something called a gripe list, and it's something that pilots write down. And if there's a problem on a plane, they write down a problem. And then the engineer comes along and says, oh, that's got to be fixed. And then there's a little conversation that goes through a little book, and it's a record of all the stuff that's going wrong and not working. Some of them are very funny. Well, I think we can have that in our marriage, can't we? We can have a gripe list of, I'm fed up with that wife. I can't believe she's done this yet again. Or, I'm so amazed at my wife for what she's done for me today. And it's all about perspective. So here's my little tip for you. Write down 10 things that your significant other has done for you. So when you're thinking, do you know what, I'm really fed up with how they treat me and what they're not doing, and that washing still isn't in the machine, all that kind of stuff. Well, actually, and it's her turn, then write down all the good things she's done. She brought the washing to the machine.
That reminds me of our youngest. He has a thing, doesn't it? If we say something rude about the other person in the family, he will say, right, you have to say 3 nice things.
Is it rude if it's true?
Well, if you call them a name because you're annoyed with them, no, it's not good, is it?
No.
So he will say, right, you have to come up with 3 things.
No,
and it's good because then it makes you think twice. You think, oh, I don't want to have to go through the palaver of thinking up something, especially when I'm not in a good mood with that person. So it's actually quite a good deterrent, a bit like the sort of swear box. It's a bit of a deterrent, isn't it?
Yes, we haven't got one of those.
No, we haven't actually.
I used to a long time ago when I was a trucker.
But for me, I think some of the work that I do is about being in that moment And I like the sort of expression, smell the coffee. Take time to smell the coffee.
Smell the roses.
And smell the roses. And instead of rushing around, and I think we do often, just take that time to sit and watch a sunset or literally smell some roses, smell the flowers, see the sights around you. How often we miss so much. Take that time to soak in those moments.
When you're having a conversation, put your phone down. When you're watching a film, put your phone down. I'm really good at multitasking, which is a bad thing because I multitask all the time. We'll be watching a film and I'll be catching up on messages with people, to do with our ministry and stuff. And one of the things, we had a week off a little while ago and it's been really good. I just stopped all that and actually I haven't picked it up again.
We have a phone jail, don't we?
We have a phone jail. Phones go to jail.
I love it. We've lost the keys so that they can get out very easily.
Yeah, I lost the keys a long time ago. But phone jail. Actually, we need a whining jail to put all your complaints. Just lock them up and change your perspective.
Yeah.
There you go. Top tip
Top
for you.
tips.
So, endurance. Wait, no, first, I'm Stephen,
I'm Nathan,
and we're brothers, actually.
in case you hadn't noticed.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Fact.
know the much more masculine physique on this side may have thrown you off.
Yeah, I'm actually older.
Yeah.
Taller. Stronger. Fitter.
Maybe.
Oh, definitely.
Anyway, that's not the point of endurance. The point
No,
is
it isn't.
spiritual training, not physical.
Yep.
Not that we don't compete that much.
Nor spiritually. You shouldn't compete spiritually either.
No.
No.
But I'm better than you.
Don't know what to say to that.
There is no answer.
So the point of endurance is all about
Take a mick out of each other.
1 Timothy 4 verse 8, which says, physical training is good, but training for godliness is much better. And so it was an idea which, I think it was my idea actually, wasn't it?
It was a joint effort. There's no I in team.
Yes, it was definitely my idea.
Yeah.
And the idea being that we have to, well, I was challenged because basically I enjoy exercise. I was doing lots of weight training, lots of running, and I was getting a bit obsessed.
You were
about
failing
it.
to train spiritually.
Yeah, you could say that I was idolizing physical fitness rather
So
than...
we created endurance to help him learn better how
And
to
so
balance spiritual and physical training.
Yeah, basically. Okay.
Because I already cracked it.
No.
No?
Got a long way to go yet. So go check us out.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, you're way behind.
Cut.
Is it me again?
Yes.
We just had a chat and it was me and I forgot. We do this in one go, There's no second takes here. So this is the takeaway. Takeaway.
Yes.
Where we take away stuff.
Yeah. So what's your takeaway, Andy? Yes, got in there.
Yeah. So my takeaway is it's all about perspective. So let's just imagine for a minute that you go out for the same takeaway every Friday night.
Yeah.
There's two ways you can look at this. You go out for your takeaway, you walk into the place, you order your food. Oh, hello, Mr. Berry, here's your takeaway. And off you go. And you think, it's really boring. Have the same food, the same order. Or you can think, do you know what? I've actually got the ability to have a takeaway. What an amazing privilege. There are many people who can't feed their homes, feed their children. So actually, I'm really blessed to have this, and perspective changes it. And the mundane stops being the mundane when you look at it through a different set of eyes.
Yeah.
A bit like
I
a
like that.
cataract being pulled out from your eye. I mean, I'm only speaking from a friend's little testimony about a cataract being removed from her eye. She said it was just, I shared before about the pink cardigan that she bought that wasn't pink, that was bright red, and she didn't know.
I think it's an attitude problem then that we need to deal with. Maybe our attitude.
Yes, you do have an attitude problem that needs to be dealt with.
When was it we saw that emoji film? Meh.
Meh.
Yeah, meh. And sometimes people go around with
I identify with that film quite strongly. Meh.
Meh.
And I think, but doesn't that film just embody the whole thing of perspective of,
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
no purpose? Actually, you do. The B movie is the same thing. So I'm going to spend all my life doing all this work and then I'm going to die. Yes, isn't it wonderful? Perspective, the B movie. Really good little cartoon. And the main sort of protagonist, B, in the film, he just thinks, what's the point in life? Everyone does the same thing. And, And his parents are so excited about the job they do because they get to stir the crud or whatever part of the film. It's really funny. But it's all about perspective. And yes, it's an attitude problem. And our lives are swamped by people's highlights, especially with social media, even the news. You watch the news. I mean, usually you get the news and it's all death and destruction and, isn't it terrible? And then the last 30 seconds, oh, look, here's a dog who's doing a skip through a hoop or something. And, we don't really get a good thing. There's a magazine, I think, called The Good News. We'll link to it because I've forgotten the name. Is it Good News Magazine or... Anyway. And they share good news. And I think it's so important to have good news because in life there's just so much negativity thrown about.
Yeah,
when we went through COVID, it's like, oh, it's the end of the world. We've got COVID. It's really terrible. Businesses are going bust. There's all this bad stuff. And what we didn't hear about was all the churches doing good stuff. Churches that were growing through COVID because they were meeting the needs of the people. Food banks, you just saw these amazing miracles and blessings. And all we focus on is the bad because it scares us more. And maybe it's kind of conversely related to the number of muscles it takes to smile as opposed to frowning, And maybe it's that same sort of thing. It's a lot less energetic to smile than it is to frown. And yet we frown far more easily.
Funny,
and I think we have the wrong perspective far too easily as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what my takeaway is.
Yes, what is your takeaway, dear Joe?
I think, we're wrong. Marriage isn't boring.
Who's wrong?
No, we're wrong. With society, people.
I like marriage.
But we have and
Is
life.
this like another intervention?
But life isn't mundane. I mean, we have our off days. Don't get me wrong. We can get off out of the wrong. We can come out of the wrong side of the bed, as they say, don't they? Sort of thing.
Yes.
But there's so much to be grateful for. There's so much to do. I mean, it's mad, isn't it? We've got so much. We've got so many episodes or TV shows. We've got so much information, and yet we're still bored, And I'm sure there's been some difficulties this summertime with kids off school.
I remember hearing I'm sure he was a university professor. It's going back quite a few years. Not really pre-internet, but mass internet. Yeah. And he was talking about in the summertime, please, parents, let your children get bored. It's really so important for your children to get bored because in that boredom, then creativity happens. And every time you say, let's watch a film, let's do this, let's go out for a walk, let's do that, you're stopping their ability to be creative. And this was a university professor, I think, in education, going back quite a few years now. But he said, please, parents, let your children get bored. It is so important for them to find boredom and creativity after that. Yeah. Otherwise, bored, do something else. Bored, do this, do that. Let them come up with stuff.
You should remember that when our boys were waiting for us for some reason at church, I think, and they had this big hall, didn't they? And they just found this. Was it a little bit of paper or a stone they found? Yeah. And they just created this game from this piece. Yeah.
That they were bored at church, obviously.
No, they just happened to be waiting for us, so we were doing something. But yeah, that's right, isn't it? You can make something fun out of.
I'm bored. Creativity.
Yeah.
To get creative in your marriages. There you go. So thanks for joining us for another episode of Marriage Matters. My name is not Joe.
And I am Joe.
And I'm Andy. So we'll see you again really soon.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, you'll see us. Well, anyway, we'll be back for more.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. There are many ways to keep in touch with the Berry Bunch. Visit our website and sign up to the Berry Bites newsletter so that you can be notified of all our videos.
Yes, that was a technical faux pas because I missed my favourite little ending logo.
Did you?
So I very seamlessly cut out and came back to do this. See ya.
Ways to keep in touch with the Berry Bunch. Visit our website and sign up to the Berry Bites newsletter so that you can be notified of all our videos, posts, exciting news and seasonal events.
Subscribe to our Vimeo and YouTube channels where we post brand new homegrown video resources every week.
Join us on Ding Dash, a fabulous place that connects people from all around the world. It's social media as it should be. Come join the rebellion.
Like us on Facebook, where we hang out and post extra things to encourage and inspire you. We're on Twitter and Tumblr too. You can also follow us on Instagram, where we share extra photos from the world of the Berry Bunch.
If you've enjoyed any of our posts or videos, share it with a friend and encourage them too. And if you want to encourage us, then like, comment and share on what we make. To help support the ministry we freely provide, check us out on Patreon, where you can support us financially as you feel led.